Welcome back, and today I'm going to make Christmas hash browns. So let's get started. First I'm going to cut up an onion. Take the sides off over here. I'm going to use a white onion. And I'm just going to kind of do this and peel off the skin. Okay, hash browns make a great breakfast side dish, but also make a good dinner side dish, depending what you're having. I'm going to do it for dinner tonight. All right, so I'm going to go to the sink, and I'm going to rinse this onion off well. Knife off. And then I'm going to dice up this onion as small as I can. There's a little piece that already, little rogue piece. And I have a big bowl because I'm going to mix up some stuff and then take it over to the range top. I'll try to do it as small as I can. Careful not to poke yourself like I just did. Okay, so then I'm going to just go like this. So just, if you want to make it a little bigger, that's okay. Kind of hard to cut it this small, but I know it'll taste better because that makes the flavor really just go everywhere. And with the potatoes, I have a couple of big pieces here. I'm just going to set those aside, and I'm going to cut those up last. So I'm going to put this in the bowl, and then I'm going to cut up this other one. Now I have rinsed off 2 red peppers and 2 green peppers. I think I'm going to need 2 for the amount of potatoes I have. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the stem off of here. Set that aside. And then I'm going to cut it in half, and I'm going to remove this part. And you're going to do the same exact thing on the green peppers. So I'm not going to show each step of this, because you're basically just taking all the seeds out, this little white part out. And then I always like, at this point, okay, shake those out. I'm going to take this over to the sink. So I will do that with the other red pepper. I'll do it with the green peppers, and then I will show you when I go to cut it up. Okay, as I said, the green pepper's basically the same way. So I'm just going to take out the insides. And then I'll take that over to the sink and rinse it out. And I'll be back shortly. So let's get started. I'm going to cut these red peppers thinly. The hash browns will be, the potatoes will be thin. So I'm kind of trying to match the size. I'm not going to be able to do it as thin. Just as best as I can. And then I'm going to take it this way. I'm going to do a few at a time. Just kind of make it pretty tiny. And kind of line them up. Make it tiny and thin. Hope everybody's having a good day. Enjoying all the holiday things. I've been baking most of the day, so all right. So on the green peppers, I will do the exact same thing, and I will show you how small I'm going here. I'm trying to do it as small as I can. Okay, and then I'm going to show you. So I didn't do this earlier. Oh, I do have a few little long ones. I'm gonna have to go back and cut some of those, but I'm trying to just do it tiny. All right. Go back and good to check to catch your mistakes before they become dinner. Okay, so on the green pepper, the same idea. you know what? I think I'm going to do it upside down because I did it this way. And you know what? This is a time saver. This is way easier to turn it upside down. So sometimes even when I'm filming, I do all of a sudden say, this is easier to do it this way. So I found an easier way to do it. So that it will be a time saver for me for sure, because it is quite a bit easier to do it that way. So I'm just going to continue to cut these up, and then I'll check back in just a few. So that was 1 white onion, 2 green peppers, and 2 red peppers. So I have quite a bit. So I'll see how many potatoes I end up needing to make that a good combination. So I rinsed off my potatoes, and now I'm going to peel the skin off. And some people like to use this type of potato peeler. I've actually found for my particular hands, this type works better for me. So I'm just going to peel all the potatoes, and I did cut off a couple imperfections on these potatoes. But this particular potato peeler is kind of, it looks like it's awkward when I'm holding it, but as I said, for some reason this feels better in my hand than the traditional one. So I'm going to show you how I hold the traditional one. And people out there might decide that they want to try this one out. And you just can get it almost at any store. You just have to look for this particular style. I did not get it at a specialty store. I think I actually got it at the grocery store. So, in the kitchen section. So I'm going to rinse this off, but for right now I'm just going to set it aside, and then I'll rinse them all off before I put them through the food processor. I'm going to try one with this type of potato peeler, just so you see the different. See, for me, this is more difficult, even if it's brand new, because I have a whole bunch of potato peelers, because sometimes the whole family just peels the potatoes and it goes very quickly. Okay, so back to my favorite style, this one, and after I'm done, I will go ahead and rinse the potatoes, and then I'll be back shortly. Okay, so I've rinsed off the potatoes, and I just want to show you, like, on this one, there's like a little bruise, so you want to take off any type of imperfection like that and just remove it. And now I'm going to go to the food processor. I'm going to do the food processor tonight because I have a lot of potatoes, and I don't really feel like using the handheld one. But I will show everybody which side I would use if I was using the handheld one. So let me go get that just to show everyone. Okay, so if I was going to use this type, I would not use this tiny little side. I would use this bigger side, and that's what I would do the potatoes on. And if you are using this style, you're going to want to leave your potatoes whole because it's a lot easier. These little potatoes are a little bit more difficult, but you definitely want to leave them whole. But now when we use the food processor, we're probably going to have to cut it down. So let's see. This is a fairly new food processor. I had another one that I preferred, but they stopped making that model. So, all right, so I'm going to have to take this off, and then I have to figure out, will my potatoes fit in here or not? So the little ones shouldn't be an issue. That should fit. I probably could fit a couple. These are almost too little, these little cute potatoes. It's good for a roast. I wanted to use the potatoes up because, you know, you can only use them for so long, and then they start to go bad. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on, turn on my power, and grate some of these potatoes. See, the food processor works quite fast. So I'm going to see if I have enough potatoes. I guess I should show everybody how many potatoes I actually have here. I don't think I've done that yet. And then we'll see if I need more. I do have a few more. So I have what I just did, and then I have this, and we'll see if that's enough to go with my peppers and my onions. So I'm going to continue to do this, and then we'll see where we're at. This particular potato, I'm going to have to cut it down a little, like this. Let's see if that fits. Because with these food processors, if you don't have it a certain way, they won't even turn on. So I need, let's see if this will fit. Okay, so I needed it to be lower than this so that I could go ahead and, might even be too tall, still too tall, because I'll turn this around so everybody can see. So this has to lock down in place right here. And if it's not pushed against there, the machine won't even turn on. So I do need to go ahead and make that a little bit shorter. Put that in there. Turn it around. And now it'll lock in place. Let's see if that works. Okay, I think everybody gets the idea, so I'm going to continue with the potatoes. Okay, so let's see if that's enough potatoes. If not, I do have more. And then I always get a couple of these pieces. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with those. I don't know if I'm going to dice them up and put them in there or just do whatever. Okay, let's see if this looks like enough potatoes. Let me adjust the camera so everybody can see how much I actually have from that amount that I showed you. Okay, that's a little bit better. Let's pour this in. I think this might be more than enough. I'm going to get a big spoon and stir it around and just see where we're at. These potatoes always go farther than you would think. So a lot of times I'll decide I'm going to make hash browns, just regular hash browns for my husband in the morning on the weekend. And I take a few potatoes, the next thing I know, I have enough for like 2 or 3 days. So that sometimes happens. So, but we're going to stir this around and see. I think this might be enough. But I'm going to see. It smells really good already because of the peppers. Very fresh peppers that I was able to get. Sometimes I just base my meals on what can I get at the store that, there's a piece I don't really want in there. What I can get at the store that looks really fresh, and then I just make my meal based on that. Okay, I think if I just keep on stirring this up, this should be the right amount because I don't want to have it just way too many. And some of the stuff does shrink as you cook it. So I think this will be good because I want it to have a lot of the pepper flavor to it. And if I put in too many potatoes, then I won't. While I'm stirring this up a little bit more, let's add some black pepper. Take a nice amount of black pepper. And some roasted garlic. If you don't like garlic, you don't have to do this, but if you've never tried it with garlic, I'll tell you that it tastes really good with garlic. And then onion powder. Now, if you like salt, here's where you would add your salt right here too. Okay, I'm just going to keep on mixing this up. I'm going to put in some sunflower oil in my very large cast iron skillet. And I'll make sure I get enough oil to get on the bottom. And I'm going to take a little bit of butter. This butter helps it brown. And I'm going to put that in there. And I'm going to heat this up to high right now. And I have a spatula that I'm just going to make sure that I get the oil everywhere because I don't want it to stick. Now, the important thing when making hash browns, which it actually took me a little bit of time, a few years to realize this, what you don't want to do is throw this giant thing of potatoes in here. It'll never get browned. So you want to take it a little bit at a time because it needs to have a nice layer of the potatoes. You don't want to mound it. It'll never work out the way that you were wanting it to work out. So I'm going to let this melt and then we'll check back on the oil in just a few. Now this is nice and hot. So I'm going to take a couple spoonfuls of half of the potatoes and the peppers. I'm going to push it down here. This smells delicious already. Okay. So, we still have quite a bit left, so we're just going to cook this and just take our time. so that it comes out wonderful. And now the advantage of putting the spices in the bowl and mixing them up that way instead of putting your potatoes in the skillet and then doing it is it's way more even. So all my spices are evenly distributed. And as I said a few minutes ago, this is smelling really, really good, and it hasn't even really cooked yet, but just all the peppers and spices are wonderful. So let's check back in just a few. All right, so it's already starting to cook nicely, so I'm going to just take this long spatula and I'm going to start flipping it and see how it's nicely browning because I laid it flat. It makes a big difference when you just lay it flat in there. And the butter does help brown it. So then I'm just going to go ahead and take this, we have a flat metal spatula, it really helps, with a cast iron skillet, and I'm just going to flatten this down. Going to make sure there's nothing on the side. And I will just occasionally keep on flipping it, and we'll just check back in just a few and see how it's browning. How we're doing. I reduced the heat slightly, and it's starting to brown nice. We don't want it to brown too much though, because we don't want it to burn, so that's why I reduced the heat a little. Just kind of scraping it so it doesn't stick, and then I'm going to lay it flat again. We'll check back in just a few. Okay, so this batch is getting very close to being done. It's developing a nice brown. So you'll want to like take your metal spatula and kind of scrape the edges. And flatten it down a little bit more. And like I said, I did reduce the heat so it doesn't burn. And it's getting very close. So we'll keep a close eye on this, and then I'll come back when it's time to pull it off of the skillet. Okay, so the first batch is done. I'm going to turn off the heat, and then I'm going to get a glass casserole dish, put it in here. Let's see. All right. Take this out, and then I'll do the same thing, and I'll keep on cooking the rest of the hash browns. All right, so I'd like to show everybody how much we made. So this is like a 9x13 casserole dish. I just would put it in there as I did the different batches. It's not all the way to the top. I put it in a casserole because I just wanted to show everybody the quantity. And also I thought if you were making multiple things for breakfast and you had this and you put it in a casserole, then you could put it in warm in your oven and then work on your eggs and everything else. But then you'd have your hash browns all ready to go. Okay, time for the taste test. I'm just using, I usually use a fork, but I'm just using a spoon because it's easier to kind of see. And it smells delicious. The house smells very good. It's the nice thing about cooking at home is your house smells delicious. Mmm. Mmm. That came out really good. I really like peppers a lot. And the onions and potato, very delicious. Came out very good. I'm very happy with the results. I hope you decide to try this recipe. It's pretty simple. Thank you for watching, and those of you who subscribe to my channel, I really appreciate it. And if you don't subscribe, please subscribe. It is free. Thank you. Have a great evening, and thanks for watching.